Hello and welcome to episode 2, My Life as a Critic. I'm professional film critic Sean Patrick, and in this series I'm examining my own career and the movies that I've reviewed over the years. It's really kind of random how I chose which movies to look back at, because I basically just kind of decided on a whim which ones I was going to use. And I mean, I'm going to do them all, but getting to decide which ones I was going to read and examine and kind of take apart again in my own head and my own writing, my own words, this examination of it's totally random. I got my MySpace full of old reviews that I wrote for and radio stations, and so that's where I'm going to start. I'm going to start there. I'm going to start today with the first movie, just a random choice from March of 2011 that I wrote about the movie Red Riding Hood, starring Amanda Seyfried. And this is the original review as I wrote it. This could be very embarrassing because I'm not reading this ahead of time, and I'm going to do my best not to correct myself. Just kind of read it to you as I wrote it then, and then, of course, I'm going to stop and watch the movie and look at it again, and we'll talk about it again. So let's start with the review itself that I wrote, again, March 13th of 2011 is what it said when I posted it. Amanda Seyfried has yet to find the right movie for her particular talents. Seyfried mixes girl next door good looks, those amazing flying saucer-esque eyes, and inviting sensuality into one precocious package. She would be a dream come true in a Bertolucci movie, or as captured by Antonioni's loving lens. Sadly, being a young American actress means offering her services for schlock such as Dear John, Letters to Juliet, and her latest, Red Riding Hood. Amanda Seyfried stars in Red Riding Hood as Valerie, the virginal daughter of a woodcutter, Billy Burke, Bella's dad from Twilight, who is promised in marriage by her mother, Suzette, Virginia Madsen, to Henry, Max Irons, the son of a wealthy family friend. Valerie, however, is in love with Peter, played by Shiloh Fernandez, and intends to run away with him. Their plans are thwarted, sadly, when Valerie's sister is murdered by a werewolf. Now, Father Solomon, Gary Oldman, is coming to the village to hunt the wolf, and a dark secret Valerie did not know she carried will place her in the wolf's path. Red Riding Hood was directed by Catherine Hardwicke, a talented director who has faltered under the weight of big budgets and special effects. Hardwicke is especially talented in crafting warm and intimate scenes, as she demonstrated in her wonderful coming-of-age film 13, and in the quiet moments of her hit Twilight. Unfortunately, special effects simply are not her forte. The CGI in Red Riding Hood used to render the wolf and portions of the mid-century village is amateurish in comparison to other CGI-heavy films, including such stinkers as The Wolfman and Underworld Evolution. The gothic air that Hardwicke attempts to bring to Red Riding Hood comes off campy rather than mysterious or forbidding. Attempts to mix period cliché with modern pop culture feel forced and trite. What works is when Hardwicke focuses on smaller, intimate moments that take advantage of star Amanda Seyfried's innate eroticism. The climax of Red Riding Hood is laughable. The filmmakers settle the allegedly mysterious identity of the werewolf by choosing a character at random. So indiscriminate is the choice of the identity of the werewolf that it is fair to wonder if the filmmakers knew the choice before they filmed it. Red Riding Hood is a mess of feeble CGI and market-tested pop culture. Though star Amanda Seyfried still manages to be radiant and alluring, the film is all gothic bluster and teen-targeted kitsch. Fans of Miss Seyfried would be better served waiting for her next film, a teaming with visionary director Andrew Niccol, called Now. That film hits theaters October 11th, 2011. Or did it? What movie was that? I'm gonna have to look that one up. I don't think that film. I know she made a movie with Andrew Niccol. That was the one she made with Justin Timberlake, but that had a different name. I'll look it up and see after I watch Red Riding Hood again, and we'll continue this episode. But Bertolucci and Antonioni, I do love them. That brought a great deal of pretension to to this review. Not very long ago either. We're only 5 years away from this, and I was doing a great. I was really, really full of myself. Still kind of am. I mean, I can't deny that, but I do think Andrew Niccol is a visionary still, from Gattaca and Simone is not a great movie, but kind of a visionary film, so I'm still there. I apparently had a huge crush on Amanda Seyfried, which I kind of still do. And I still think Catherine Hardwicke could do good work. I haven't seen it since then. I don't think we've seen her much since then, since Twilight and that, since Red Riding Hood. But she was good. 13's a good. Never saw 13. We'll pause the review here, and we'll come back and kind of see if I've changed my opinion on it at all, or not. My guess is not, but we'll see. And part two in a moment. Well, that was tedious. I don't remember the film being tedious when I saw it the first time. I remember not liking it. I remember the review pretty well. It's only been 5 years. It's not like I'm going to that level of effort to remember this, but I didn't remember it being tedious. But watching it again and that was tedious. That was hard to do. Nothing against Amanda Seyfried again, who I still do. I guess I still do have kind of a crush on her. I think it was pretty obvious in the way, in the wording I used in the review. Her innate eroticism, I believe, is actually what I said. As I giggle at my own pretension, but she's really attractive and she's really beautiful. That's not going out on a limb. That you don't have to be a critic to see that. So she's not terrible in this. Nor is Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman, at the very least, can choose scenery and still be entertaining, and he certainly is doing that in Red Riding Hood. The movie doesn't. I don't expect the movies to change. My way of seeing movies, I do expect to change a little bit, but it's just been 5 years on this one. So in 5 years, my opinion hasn't evolved any, and the film still looks just as it did 5 years ago. To me, my eyes, my experience, it doesn't. I don't see it any differently, except for I see it as much worse. Frankly, I guess So wait, it has. Now that I'm thinking about it more, it has evolved because it's tedious now watching it. For the second time, for the first time in 5 years, it's a tedious film to sit through. Red Riding Hood. I obviously didn't recommend it in the review, and I don't recommend it now. I need to look up that. I didn't even bother to look up now. It was the movie that she made with Justin Timberlake. Which wasn't. Again, Andrew Niccol. If I may, for a moment, just because we're off on a tangent here. This is a very wide tangent. Niccol is a guy whose ideas are always interesting. Always. Every movie he makes, his ideas are always interesting. It's the way those ideas tend to get lost. And I wonder if he's just a guy who just continuously gets notes from the studio, just constantly in his ear about this or that, make this more, appealing to the marketing department. I don't know what it is, but something about Andrew Niccol's work just always seems to get lost. Even in his best work like Gattaca, he can lose the thread sometimes, and oftentimes it's to accommodate what needs to be in the trailer. Every one of his movies. In Time was the movie. It was called Now at the time when I did this review, but it was In Time, which had kind of a Logan's Run sort of feel. In Time was that movie, and that was a good idea of a movie, and she's good in it, and Timberlake's not bad in it, but it's not a good movie in the end because there's a lot of compromised ideas, pop culture wise, to try and you're making a better trailer than you are a movie. Great ideas, but Lord of War with Nicolas Cage, great idea, not so much in the execution. Gattaca is probably his masterpiece. Simone, which is a movie that posited a celebrity that was it was a hologram celebrity essentially. She was the creation of Al Pacino's character. phenomenal idea, poorly executed. It's got a bad performance from Al Pacino. It's got that hammy Pacino, as opposed to, I just don't know if he got the idea the way Nickel did. But Simone has an amazing idea, though, behind it, and that's what Nickel does. He's a tremendous writer, far better writer probably than a director. His ideas might have been perfect for maybe like a Kubrick, but In Time, which is I've probably written a review of it, will probably be an upcoming episode at some point. We'll talk about In Time, I'm sure, on this show, but I'm way off on a tangent just talking about Amanda Seyfried, and like I said, I mentioned Now, which became In Time in the review, and so that's why I brought it up, and just kind of closing that thread for people who might have heard that part of the show. So that is Red Riding Hood. The film, my view of it hasn't changed. I haven't changed in 5 years enough for me to see that movie any differently, and that is episode 2 of My Life as a Critic. Thanks for listening.